regular meeting of council for April the 6th, 2021. It is now 7:03. Can we have a moment of silent reflection, and we will just stay seated for that time. Thank you very much. We'll move on to the mayor's address. So as we move into spring and begin the month of April, once again, we're faced with another provincial shutdown due to the rising number of positive COVID cases in Renfrew County and throughout the province. As of March 31st, 2021, there were 6 patients in hospital in Renfrew County, which is an all-time high for Renfrew County. In addition, 3 separate variants of concern have been identified, and the amount of spread has put unprecedented pressure on Renfrew County Health Unit staff, who are now following up on over 200 COVID contacts. Residents are reminded that we must limit our social contacts to our immediate families and only travel for necessities. At our County Council meeting on March 31st, 2021, the county draft official plan was brought back to County Council with additional amendments. Included in the amendments was a return to the OP8 25 agriculture mapping for North Algona Wilberforce. More details on the amendments are attached in the County Council report in the agenda. Warden Robinson sent a letter to Premier Doug Ford in support of the North Algona Wilberforce request for 2 days a week bus service to Eganville. The county received $1.6 million for phase 3 of the social services relief funding for 2021. This funding will support programs for seniors and disabled adults in our community, food banks, transportation for COVID vaccinations and testing, homelessness and rental arrears, and community outreach for vulnerable residents. Finally, good news for all municipalities, the announcement that the gas tax funding has once again been doubled for 2021, meaning our municipality will receive an additional $88,874. Thank you. That is my mayor's address. So can I get a mover and a seconder that council accept the April 6, 2021 mayor's address as presented? Moved by Councillor Reiki-Schoenfeld, seconded by Councillor Robinson. I'll call the vote. Councillor Buchwald.
Yes.
Councillor Berndt.
Yes.
Councillor Robinson.
Yes.
Councillor Reiki-Schoenfeld.
Yes.
I'm a yes, that's carried. Thank you. Are there any declarations of pecuniary interest and the general nature thereof? Hearing none, then we will move on to the adoption of the minutes. I have a resolution that the March 16th, 2021 regular council meeting minutes be approved as presented. Can I get a mover and a seconder? Moved by Councillor Reiki-Schoenfeld, seconded by Councillor Robinson. Any additions, corrections, or omissions? I'll call the vote. Councillor Berndt.
Yes.
Councillor Buchwald.
Yes.
Councillor Robinson.
Yes.
Councillor Reiki-Schoenfeld.
Yes.
I'm a yes. That's carried as well. Thank you. That brings us to delegations. And I don't believe we have any. So we have a consent application B92-20 for Astley. Resolution that council supports the approval of consent application B92 20 for Robert Athley to sever 3.7 acre parcel of land to be added to the abutting parcel owned by John and Elaine Degladish to enlarge the existing vacant waterfront lot. Can I get a mover and a seconder? Moved by Councillor Burnt, seconded by Councillor Buckwell. Any comments? Or questions?
I just have a question. Do you think as we progress, we could always have the report up? Because I can't do my split screen, which I had notes on my normal agenda package.
Yes, Michelle can, I believe, bring up the report. Pardon me, I'm not seeing it yet, Michelle. There we go.
Thank you.
Was there a particular page, Councillor Eke Schoenfeld, can you remember where?
No, like this part was okay, but it was just some of the other reports. If we could just like briefly bring them up. Like I am fine with, it seems like everybody in the planning department and everybody's done their due diligence. I was just wondering why that little square had to be added. Like how come that, what was the significance of that?
Michelle, can you answer that?
Okay, so the reason that they had to sever the 1 foot square parcel of land was so that the original severed parcel would merge with this lot addition. Otherwise, the lot addition could have been left on its own as a standalone or orphan parcel. And so that was the reason why they had to do the second consent application and why they had to sever the 1 square foot parcel of land.
Okay, thanks for your answer. Thank you.
Any other questions or comments? Seeing none, I will call the vote. Councillor Burns,
yes,
Councillor Buckwalt,
yes,
Councillor Robinson,
Yes.
Councillor Eke Schoenfeld.
Yes,
I'm a yes. It's carried. Thank you. So the next report is the staff report. And that would be the county planning. That's the one we just did. So the next one should be the county planning report. Michelle?
Okay.
Lost my screen. Get this bigger.
Councillor Eke Schoenfeld, you had a question?
yeah, just for clarification, you know, under the zoning bylaw recruitment, it says requirements, sorry, it says no zoning. Is that because in North Algona, we don't have any zoning bylaws? Is that why it says no zoning?
That's correct, yes.
Okay, that's what I thought, and I was just double checking it. Okay, thank you.
And so this is actually, Michelle, I think you had the right one up there. I apologize. This is the Robert Astley one, and we're now on 7.2, which is a consent for Degladish. And so I have a resolution that council supports the approval of consent application B91-20 for John and Elaine Degladish to sever a 1 foot square parcel of land to be added to the abutting parcel owned by Robert Astley to facilitate a legal merging of parcels under the Planning Act. Can I get a mover and a seconder? Moved by Councillor Buchwald, seconded by Councillor Recchi Schoenfeld. And this is just the second part of the other application for the merging of the titles, correct, Michelle?
That is correct, yes.
Okay. Any other questions or comments from council?
Mayor Burrows,
See, yes,
I have one question. Is this, did they have waterfront before we did this or after? Like, is this giving them more waterfront? Can Michelle bring up the map, please?
Michelle, can you bring the map up?
Okay. So no, it doesn't give them any more waterfront. So this is the severed parcel for the first application. And then the second application. Okay.
The
Is in the
second
red.
application is the part in blue, correct?
No, the second application is a 1 foot square, approximately right here.
Oh, okay, okay.
Okay. And it's a section in the red that they're getting from the other person then to add it to their lot?
That was the first application, yes. And the
Oh, this is
area
the
in
second
blue is
one
what
now.
it's being,
Added
the area
to.
in blue is what it's being added to.
So before they never had no waterfront. Now they're getting waterfront,
No, they had waterfront there.
according.
Yeah, they did.
Mhm.
Right here.
Okay,
Basically,
Thank
from
you.
what it says here, it's just enlarging their vacant waterfront lot.
Yes.
Mhm.
okay. Thank you very much.
Okay. Any other questions? Seeing none, I'll call the vote. Councillor Burnt,
Yes,
Councillor Buchwald,
yes,
Councillor Robinson,
Yes,
Councillor Recchi Schoenfeld.
Yes,
I'm a yes. Carried, thank you. So item 7.3 is the CEMC update. I have a resolution that council accepts the CEMC update report as information. Can I get a mover and a seconder? Moved by Councillor Buchwald, seconded by Councillor Burnt. And actually, we have Mr. Warren with us tonight, so he can speak to the report.
Good evening, council. It's Andrew speaking, and you can't see me because I'm behind Jeff. I'm just going to get Jeff to do a little bio for council, just to introduce himself to the public. And then if council has any questions on the report, Jeff will be pleased to answer them. Go ahead, Jeff.
Okay. Good evening, Mr. Mayor and councilors. Thank you for inviting me. So I'm originally from Surrey, British Columbia. I settled in in Renfrew County after retiring from 8 years in the Canadian Army as a radio operator. I'm married since 2004 and have 3 grown children. I'm a full-time commissioner supervisor at 450 Tactical Helicopter Squadron at Garrison Petawawa, and I'm a part-time firefighter and fire prevention officer with the Town of Petawawa Fire Department. I'm also a first aid instructor with St. John Ambulance and a former medical first responder with the same organization. I'm an honors graduate of Algonquin College's Law Clerk program, diploma program, and I'm currently studying emergency management at Algonquin College through online studies, and that's a graduate certificate program. I enjoy reading, learning. I like scuba diving, and I love to travel. I've been all around the world, and thank you for taking me on with the new CMC, and I'm looking forward to working here. And I have ambitious plans for emergency management in North Algona Wilberforce.
Thank you.
And are there any questions from council on the report as presented? Good news being that just looking at the freshet reports that come out, that Golden Lake is probably very close to its peak, as the levels are certainly tapering off. And Round Lake, they've put logs back into the dam, so they are holding more water. And from the report on the snow melt, it looks like most of the snow from the measurement area has already melted. So we seem to be in good shape. Is there anything, Mr. Warren, you'd like to add to that?
No, sorry, there's nothing really outstanding. The latest report that I got yesterday says that I know it said 7 to 8 centimeters a day. It's actually gone down to about 1 centimeter per day, or stable day by day. There's no stop logs in the Golden Lake Dam, but there's 11 stop logs in the Round Lake Dam, and again, that's rising about 1 centimeter a day. It appears to be cresting right now, based on, or just about cresting right now, based on the graphs that I see.
Thank you very much. So,
Mayor Bros,
seeing
I
no
just have-
other, yes, go
Mayor
ahead, Councilor
Bros?
Byrne. Yes,
I just see there on it says in the report, Lake Door is expected to rise because the stop log has been added to the dam at Constant Lake. That's not right there, that part.
Okay.
no, that's actually Lake
It should
Dory,
be,
the dam.
It's on Burnt Bridge Road or something, eh?
Yes, yes. It's on Snake River. So Constant Lake Dam is actually, I believe, in Boncher Valley. Maybe
Yes,
Councilor
that's right.
Buckwell could give a little more background on that.
Yeah, that's in Balaclava. So Constant comes out of Lake Clear. So I don't know if that was Constant Lake referring to Lake Clear, or if it was the dam at Smoke Road to Lake Dory. But they're both M&R dams. So
yeah, that was from the information that I received at that freshet meeting at the time, but I can certainly revise that.
So I'll just add to the resolution that we accept the CMC
That's all the
report
ones I have.
as amended. And I'll call the vote then. Councilor Burnt. Councilor Burnt, can you hear me?
Looks like he's stuck.
Yeah, his screen is frozen. Councilor Burnt, can you hear me?
Now I can.
Okay, I'm calling the vote. Are you in
I hear you
favor?
now. I couldn't hear nothing for a second there.
Yeah, your screen froze. So calling the vote, Councillor Burnt,
Yes,
Councillor Buckwalt,
Yes.
Councillor Robinson,
Yes.
Councillor Reiki Schoenfeld.
Yes,
I'm a yes. It's carried. Thank you. So item 7.4 is the shoreline application update. Can you bring up the report, please, Michelle?
Sure.
Thank you. Has everybody had a chance to review the report? Can I get a mover and a seconder that council accepts the report as information? Moved by Councillor Buckwald, seconded by Councillor Robinson. The only, sorry, Councillor Reiki Schoenfeld, you had a question?
just like one question. We had talked last year about doing something with the people that hadn't bought their lakefront or their frontage on Church Point Drive. I don't know if we've ever moved forward on that.
I believe we, our staff brought forward a report in the fall on looking at some possible options. I'm not sure if we passed a bylaw to deal with it. Michelle, did you have any more on that? I might have been before you joined us, but can you remember the history at all, Michelle? If not, I'll have to ask Andrew.
I know that a bylaw hadn't been passed. I know staff did do some preliminary work on it, but a bylaw hasn't been passed.
Andrew, can you add any more to that?
Could you please repeat the question? I was sort of in transit there.
Oh, just Councillor Reggie Schoenfeld was wondering if we've moved forward with anything to deal with residents who have chosen not to purchase their lakeshore frontage yet, or is that something that still is in the planning phase?
My understanding of it, my memory is that we were going to have it in place within the next 2 years, so within the next year now.
Okay.
And there has been some work done on it.
Okay, so follow up, Councillor Reggie Schoenfeld, and then Councillor Robinson.
Okay, and the other part, in the last part of that report where it says the way they had been registered, these agreements will no longer be acceptable. So they were, the first ones we did were acceptable. Yes, yeah, Michelle's nodding her head down. And then,
Yes.
and then whose mistake was it that now they aren't acceptable? Is that just a difference in the way properties are being dealt with at the county level?
No, so it's a difference how properties are being dealt with at the land registry office. So all the restrictive covenants agreements that were done previously were accepted at the land registry office. But the last one we did, they informed our solicitor that we had to change the way we were doing them, and they were no longer going to accept them.
Okay, all right. So it was just something that kind of changed on their half. Like we were doing it properly, but their requirements, I guess, is the right wording, said to change. Okay, thanks for the clarification.
Councillor Robinson, you had a question?
Well, it was much that question I was going to ask. However, does that change have any financial impact?
So what it will mean is, the restrictive agreements that haven't been registered will probably need to be redone. So they are acceptable to land registry office, However, those costs are covered by the applicant.
Okay. Thank you.
And the only follow-up I had to that, I know there's been a number of the owners who are caught in this new process. Can we send them a copy of this report so that they know that we haven't forgotten them, but that there's a delay because of the changes?
Yes, we can do that.
We may want to also let them know about the pending extra cost as well.
Well, I think it's been clear right from the beginning that all of the costs associated with the transfer, they have to pick up the tab, so. Thank you for that information, Michelle. Any other comments or questions? Seeing none, I'll call the vote. Councillor Burns,
Yes,
Councillor Buckwalt,
Yes.
Councillor Robinson,
Yes.
Councillor Reiki Schoenfeld,
Yes,
and I'm a yes, that's carried. Thank you. Item 7.5 is the RFP for the tandem plow truck. I have a resolution that council accepts the tandem plow truck tender report as presented and directs the CAO to proceed with the purchase of a Western Star tandem snow plow truck with fully detachable equipment from ELP for $310,898.43. Can I get a mover and a seconder? Moved by Councillor Reiki Schoenfeld, seconded by Councillor Buckwalt. Questions or comments? I just had a question about the pricing because I know we're not accepting the lowest price. Is this going to be an issue, or was the tender document clear enough that we needed a certain spec to meet our needs?
So if I can just talk on that one, both submissions are from the same vendor. So that's not going to be an issue. The reason why the Western Star was the truck that the staff are recommending is we have two trucks that are extremely similar. So we have the interchanging of parts. Also, this year is an exceptional year to purchase vehicles. Our other municipalities around us are having very much difficulty getting a bid even on a truck. But the company that we're buying from already has Western Stars on the line. So this is a truck that we can pretty well guarantee is going to be built this year, as opposed to other trucks. So the Western Star, basically because we have a similar vehicle that we can interchange parts, and also the availability of an actual truck.
Thank you, Andrew. Any other questions or
Andrew?
comments? Yes, go ahead,
Mayor
Councillor
Burrows?
Burt. Yeah,
just a question for Andrew. Is that similar to the last two trucks that we bought? Or is that's,
So to answer your question, Councillor Burnt, the body and equipment of the truck is exactly the same as the last several trucks we purchased. The cab and chassis is a Western Star truck, and it's basically the same as the last two trucks that we purchased.
okay. Thank you.
any other questions, comments? Seeing none, I will ask for the vote. Councillor Burnt,
Yes,
Councillor Buckwalt,
Yes.
Counselor Robinson,
Yes.
Counselor Reiki Schoenfeld.
Yes.
I mean, yes, that's carried. Thank you. Item 7.6 is the RFQ for the pickup truck. I have a resolution that council accepts the pickup truck tender report as presented and directs the CAO to proceed with the purchase of a full-size crew cab 2,500 3/4 ton 4x4 pickup truck from Boyer GM for $55,284.67. Can I get a mover and a seconder? Moved by Councillor Buckwald, seconded by Councillor Reiki Schoenfeld. Comments or questions? Councillor Reiki Schoenfeld.
If we need warranty work, can we take it into Pembroke or Renfrew, or would it have to go to Bancroft? I'm thinking we could still take it into Pembroke, right?
So to answer that question, GM warranty is GM across the board, any GM dealership.
Okay, that's what I thought, just double checking.
Any other questions or comments? Seeing none, I'll call the vote. Councillor Burnt,
Yes,
Councillor Buckwald,
Yes.
Councillor Robinson,
Yes.
Councillor Reiki Schoenfeld.
Yes.
I mean, yes, it's carried. Thank you. Item 7.7 is the tender surplus land. I have a resolution that council accepts the sale of surplus land report for information purposes. Can I get a mover and a seconder? While Michelle brings up the report. Moved by Councillor Burnt, seconded by Councillor Reiki Schoenfeld. Any comments or questions? Seeing none, I'll call
That
for the
was,
vote.
the
Councillor,
Mayor Bros.
sorry, you had a question? Yes, go ahead, Councillor Burnt.
That was probably where Jerry Meach used to be.
I believe that's correct, yes.
Okay, thank you.
Seeing no other comments, Councillor Burnt,
Yes,
Councillor Buckwald,
Yes.
Councillor Robinson,
Yes.
Councillor Reiki Schoenfeld.
Yes.
I'm a yes, that's carried. Thank you. Item 7.8 is the tender municipal tax sale. I have a resolution that council accepts the municipal tax sale report as information. Can I get a mover and a seconder? Moved by Councillor Robinson, seconded by Councillor Burnt. Any questions or comments?
can they bring up the report, please?
Michelle, can you present that report? And Councillor Reiki Schoenfeld, you had a question.
Well, it's just a comment, actually. I'm really glad that we're moving forward on the sales of these two lands, and that will help us in our revenue side. So, and the other question I had was, it says once the, it said, tax sales do not generate revenue for the municipality or cost recovery, surplus funds will be paid into the Superior Court of Justice. What does that last sentence mean? Surplus funds will be paid into the Superior Court of Justice?
Mr. Sprunt, can you answer that?
Sure. Basically, the only thing the township can recover is our taxes. The property doesn't, any excess money doesn't go to us. It has to go back to the Ontario Supreme Court or Superior Court of Justice. So basically, out of the 60,000, and then Michelle can correct me, it's around 10,000 that we get.
And why is the
Correct.
to the Superior Court of the Justice?
And I'll let you fill the counselor on that, Michelle.
Okay. So that's the process under the Municipal Act for tax sales. Any funds, any surplus funds are paid to the Superior Court of Justice.
Okay, thank you.
So Michelle, that other one that we just passed, we don't get that full amount neither then?
No, that was surplus lands, so the township does retain all that money.
Of the first, this is not surplus land too that we have?
No,
No,
this
this
is a tax sale.
This is, okay, right, sorry about that. Okay, I got you. Thank you.
Thank you for that. Any other questions or comments? Seeing none, I'll call the vote. Councillor Burns,
Yes,
Councillor Buckwald,
Yes.
Councillor Robinson,
Yes.
Councillor Reiki Schoenfeld.
Yes,
I'm a yes, that's carried. Thank you. Item 7.9 is the, excuse me, the municipal summer swim program. I have a resolution that council accepts the report as presented and authorizes the CAO to increase the 2021 swim program fees to $60 per participant and $7 per drop-in participants. Can I get a mover and a seconder? Moved by Councillor Reiki Schoenfeld, seconded by Councillor Robinson. Comments or questions? I see none, so I'll call the vote. Councillor Burns? Oh,
Yes.
Councillor Buckwald, did you have a question?
Just one. With the increase, are we hoping that that does bring us significantly closer to a break-even point?
Unfortunately, the recommendation for the increase is to cover the COVID cost as opposed to going closer to a break even. It's basically not losing any more money.
Okay, thank you.
Your vote, Councillor Buckwald?
Yes.
Councillor Robinson?
Yes.
Councillor Reiki Schoenfeld?
yes,
I'm a yes, thank you, that's carried. Item 7.10 is the green program. I have a resolution that council directs staff to launch the Green Steward Community Cleanup Program and that council approves a budget of $2,500 to operate the program in 2021. Could we bring that report up, please, Michelle, and I'll ask for a mover and a seconder. Moved by Councillor Reiki Schoenfeld, seconded by Councillor Robinson. So I'll just ask if staff can just speak to this a little bit.
Okay, just a little history on this. About a month ago, the mayor had asked about bringing some sort of program for collecting roadside waste that another councillor had asked the mayor about it. So I was working on a report and then I saw there was a letter coming to this council meeting. So I sped up the report a little bit, so it was submitted today just to correspond with that letter. So basically, this is a program that allows residents and groups to do roadside or ditch cleanup. And we supply the materials, for example, garbage bags and gloves. And with using a special bag and a special tag, the residents are able to take it to our transfer site and not be charged for it, but it allows us to track the bags that come in. And that's where we can see how much it actually costs and how many come in. And also it would have a certificate program where when you bring your bags in, that information comes back to the township, and the person doing it or the group is rewarded with a certificate of recognition. This has worked well in other municipalities. It is the least work for staff and resources. Basically, most of it we've done in the office. And if there's a larger item, then Public Works could be called and possibly pick that item up. Everything costs money, and this is not a budgeted item. So staff has put a budget in for $2,500. We would have an advertising campaign so everyone would know about the program. And then there's the cost of the bags and the gloves, the certificates, and of course the tipping for the waste. So we put an estimate in of $2,500 for 2021. It's a very good community stewardship program that rewards the resident, and it allows everybody to participate.
Thank you, Andrew. Any further comments or questions? Councillor Buchwald and then Councillor Reckie-Schoenfeld.
I definitely like the idea. It touches on a couple parts of our strategic plan with community engagement as well as environmental stewardship. And I think it's, for that price, I think it's a very reasonable expense. We'll have to decide what budget line it will come out of, but I'd be very happy to see this succeed.
Thank you, Councillor Reckie-Schoenfeld.
I echo Councillor Buchwald's statement. I was just wondering where those monies would come out of. And then secondly, I know that letter that the Lake Dory Properties Association is coming up later on. But that being said, I'm just wondering if we could either deal with my questions when that letter comes up or deal with it now. I guess what I'm thinking of is then we could tell that association that we would provide gloves and bags and talk about, instead of maybe places to drop off, then maybe they could take them to the waste recovery of Shaw Woods. So I'm just wondering what that would look like.
So if I may answer that question, I think this would be, something, a good news story of sending something back to the Lake Dory Property Association right away and saying, look, at council's looked at this. They were already thinking about this, because I believe it was Councillor Reckie-Schoenfeld that brought that to the mayor's attention. So we were on it, and we are being able to respond right away with council providing some funding for bags. And it's really easy when the resident can actually bring it to the site. We've done things before where there's been a cleanup and someone brings a garbage bag and said, I picked this up on the side of the road. Well, did they or not? This is really easy. We just do a different colored bag with a tag on it. And when the bags come back with the tag, the resident gets sent a certificate. It's a pretty clean system of cleaning up.
Okay, no, thank you for that clarification. Because I know the president just asked me if I would be able to tell her what happened at our meeting. So I'm just going to say that we're going to get it, the township's going to get in contact with her, and then, we would provide special bags with some gloves, and then we'd be able to figure out a time. Anyway, I think that's really good stewardship. I do see how it falls into our strategic plan. So I really think it's good for the whole community and the whole township. Thanks for the plan.
And I would agree with that. I think this is a great idea. In fact, on the weekend, I did see some of our residents, and this is even before the plan. We're out picking up garbage along the one road, Smiths Bay Road, actually. And I just stopped and complimented them for that, community spirit and showing that initiative. And I think this is a great program, especially if we can recognize the people that do invest their time and energy, that, we can let them know that we certainly appreciate it as well. Councillor Byrne, you had a question or a comment?
I just have to agree, it is a really good plan that they came up with, and it should make our township look clean. I'm all for it.
Thank you. Councillor Robinson.
I'm just wondering, I know that Earth Day is coming up in the next couple of weeks. If we could do another promotion with that in mind, because I think, as everyone has echoed, it is an excellent idea, and it sort of brings the community together. And with COVID on, it might be just nice for everyone to get out and sort of help tidy up the area.
Thank you, Councillor Robinson. So I see no further comments or questions. I will call for the vote. Councillor Burnt,
Yes.
Councillor Buckwald,
Yes.
Councillor Robinson,
Yes.
Councillor Reike Schoenfeld,
Yes,
and I'm a yes. That's carried. Thank you. That brings us to departmental updates and correspondence. And the resolution I have is that council accepts correspondence items 9.1.1 to 9.1.13 as information. And I believe Councillor Burnt has one that he wants pulled out because he would like to speak to it. And do you remember that number, Councillor Burnt?
I'm not sure the number. It doesn't show it on my screen here. If they could just move it up. I think it was the Ottawa Valley Tourist.
what, Councillor Burnt, what
Ottawa
was it?
Valley Business. Ottawa
Okay.
Valley Business.
Okay, item 9.1.9 would be the one then that we would move into an action item. So I have the resolution and I need a mover and a seconder, and I'll just put with the exemption of item number 9.1.9. So looking for a mover and seconder. Moved by Councillor Buckwald, seconded by Councillor Burnt. So I'll ask for the vote to accept these other correspondence items as information. Councillor Burnt,
Yes.
Councillor Buckwald,
Yes.
Councillor Robinson,
Yes.
Councillor Reike Schoenfeld.
Yes,
I'm a yes. That's carried. Thank you. So Councillor Burnt, you wanted to speak to item 9.1.9. The floor is yours.
Can they bring up that report? I think it was on the second page. Just move ahead to the next page.
Yeah, keep scrolling down, Michelle.
I think it's coming on the next page where she has, they're coming up now. Just,
Okay, so it's the Horton
Horton.
recognizes fire staff.
yes. Oh, I lost that one,
Back up one.
Michelle.
Oh, right there.
Back one more, I think.
No,
There
right
it
there.
is. Yeah.
It's just to the left of the need to hire. Need to hire. It's just on the left about Horton, what they did with their firefighters. Award them for the number of years through a service award from the Governor General. I don't think that's the same as what we awarded them with before. Council Buckwalter might be able to answer that.
Actually, I think maybe staff can speak to that as well. Andrew, did you have some feedback on that?
Yes, that was done. I think the last time we had that done was 2019. But that's something that ongoing the fire department would do through the chief. But I can make sure the chief's reminded of that.
Because there
And
is
I
a
guess-
number of firefighters that has a good number of years, but that if that was done in 19, the same award then?
I do recall 2019 that we had to send the applications into the Governor General, and there was, I think there might have been 4 at that time.
Okay,
So we would have to have our fire chief bring back a report if there's any firefighters that would qualify for that recognition, correct?
I think that it's just to remind staff of that is something, and I will contact the fire chief tomorrow and inquire.
okay, thank you
Okay.
very much.
Thank you. So that brings us to item number 9.1.1, which is the OGRA heads up publication about amendments to the asset management planning. And I believe that's just a change in the timetable when municipalities have to meet those provincial requirements. Can we bring up the report, please, Michelle?
Are we doing 9.2?
No, this is actually 9.1.1. This is just an information item.
Okay,
And it's just reminding us that the dates for completing the asset management plans have been moved ahead, I believe, by 1 year.
Yeah,
I think that's it, correct, Michelle?
That's correct, yes.
So it's just a reminder that we have a little more time. Thank you, Michelle. That's just, as they say, an information item. That brings us to 9.1.2, which is the Renfrew County ATV Club. I have a resolution that council authorizes Renfrew County ATV Club to do maintenance work on the North Algona Wilberforce owned section of the 101 trail, specifically the 1 kilometer of North Algona Wilberforce unopened road allowance, section BC. Can I get a mover and a seconder? Moved by Councillor Reiche, seconded by Councillor Buckwalt. Comments or questions? Seeing none, I will call the vote. Councillor Burns,
yes,
Councillor Buckwalt,
Yes.
Councillor Robinson,
yes,
Councillor Reiche Schoenfeld,
Yes,
I'm a yes, that's carried. Thank you. Item 9.2.2 is the OPP board. I have a resolution that the township will work with other municipalities within the detachment area to identify the number of seats each municipality and First Nation will be allocated on the detachment board, as well as the number of community representatives and provincial appointments by the June 7th, 2021 deadline. Can I get a mover and a seconder? Moved by Councillor Buckwald, seconded by Councillor Burns. Comments or questions? Councillor Ranky-Schoenfeld first, and then Councillor Buckwald.
So, and maybe somebody can, well, hopefully somebody can answer this. So when it says other municipalities, how many municipalities are we talking about to make the board? Is it all the municipalities in Renfrew County, or is it just all of the municipalities around us?
I'm wondering if Councillor Buckwald may have some information because he sits on that committee.
Thank you, Mr. Mayor. Yes, essentially, basically any municipality that is served by the detachment will be expected to have representation on the committee. It's similar to what the CPAC committee is now, but it goes a little bit further into procedures and levels of service and that sort of thing. This is something very new, and I know our CPAC for Killaloe is meeting on May 13th, and I suspect this is going to be a very large part of that meeting. Again, there are specific requirements for membership. Essentially, I think it's going to be very similar to what we have now, where each municipality will send a representative by title as opposed to by name. So it would be a member of council from each municipality, or potentially in addition to that, a member of a community group, that sort of thing. And then the province will have their representation, the detachment will have theirs, and it'll be basically an advisory committee, somewhat similar to the police services boards, but not quite. It's still kind of up for discussion and determination.
Thank you.
Thank you, Councillor Buckwald. And maybe to further that from Councillor Ranky-Schoenfeld, how does it look, because we're served by two different detachments, the Upper Ottawa Valley and the Killaloe detachment? Is that going to be a combined board, or will there be representatives of two separate advisory committees?
That would essentially be, we would be eligible to have representation on both detachment boards because we are serviced by both. So similar to as we have two CPAC now, this would be basically the same process. We would have be represented on each detachment board.
Thank you. Did you have any further comments, Councillor Buckwald, or was that what you were planning to speak to?
Yeah, I was just basically going to say that, again, we have our CPAC meeting coming up in May, and I suspect that we'll be having more discussions on this with the detachment commander, and be coming back to the municipalities with hopefully a joint plan as far as representation goes.
Thank you. Well, we'll look forward to that. Any other comments? Seeing none, I'll call the vote. Councillor Burns,
Yes.
Councillor Buckwald,
Yes.
Councillor Robinson,
Yes.
Councillor Ranky-Schoenfeld.
Yes.
I'm a yes, that's carried. Thank you. So item 9.2.3 is the Greater Peterborough Chamber of Commerce request. I have a resolution. Whereas the Township of Algona Wilberforce received correspondence from the Greater Peterborough Chamber of Commerce in regards to a letter of support for the Via Rail project. Be it further resolved that the Township of North Algona Wilberforce supports the correspondence and that the mayor be authorized to sign a letter of support. Can I get a mover and a seconder? Moved by Councillor Buckwald, seconded by Councillor Robinson. Any comments or questions? Seeing none, I'll call the vote. Councillor Burnt,
Yes.
Councillor Buckwald,
Yes.
Councillor Robinson,
Yes.
Councillor Reiki Schoenfeld.
Yes.
I'm a yes. That's carried. Thank you. Item 9.2.4 is the Lake Dory Property Owners Association. I have a resolution that council agrees to support the Lake Dory Property Owners Association Lake Cleanup Day, and further that $5,000 be budgeted for waste removal. I'm wondering if that, I thought we were sticking with 2,500, but I'll ask staff. So that one, council may just wish to withdraw that completely. Okay, so I'm not sure if you heard that, but Mr. Sprunt is just saying that that one could be withdrawn by council since we approved the 2,500. Are we suggesting we remove the whole resolution or just change? You could withdraw the resolution and you could just start with the record. Okay, so Mr. Sprunt's just saying we could withdraw this resolution since staff has already been given direction with the other one that we passed on the cleanup day. Is all of council agreeable to just withdraw this resolution? I see Councillor Buckwald. Well, I'll ask for the vote. Councillor Burns, would you like to see this withdrawn? Yes, sorry, Councillor Reiki Schoenfeld.
Just a question. So I know they had asked about like garbage, different sites where people would take the garbage to. So then if we withdrew this, then would they automatically have to take it to Shaw Woods? Or what?
Shaw Woods or the Burnt Road site. I'll just look for, would that be correct? Okay, so the reason that the 5,000 was put in there is that if we determine drop-off sites and staff has to go and pick up and take to the waste site, that increases the cost. If we hand out the bags and the tags, then we have a better idea on the costs, and people would then have to take it to Shaw Woods or Burnt Road.
Okay, all right. Just for clarification, because I know the president will want to know that. So then the solution is just to somehow get the bags, distribute them along with the gloves and the special bags and the tags, and then it's that person's responsibility to take it to the landfill site, either the burnt site or the Shaw Woods site, correct?
That's correct. And Councillor Buckwald, you had a comment?
Yes, and that was my concern about setting up other locations because of our C of A for waste disposal. I don't know if that would be appropriate to set up other sites for that. So I'm quite comfortable with if we're giving staff direction that everything be done either at Burnt Road or Shaw Woods.
So I'm just writing on this resolution. Council withdraws the resolution. I'll call for the vote. Councillor Burns,
Yes.
Councillor Buckwald,
Yes.
Councillor Robinson,
Yes.
Councillor Reiki Schoenfeld,
Yes.
and I'm a yes. That's carried. Thank you. I believe, yes, it was Councillor Buckwalt and Councillor Robinson. So then we get to item number 10.1, which is the fire department. I have a resolution now, therefore, the Council of North Algona Wilberforce enact the following bylaw. Bylaw 2021-20 to authorize the execution of the agreement for the fire safety grant program. Can we bring up the report, and I'll ask for a move and a seconder. Moved by Councillor Robinson, seconded by Councillor Burnt. And just a little, can staff give us a little background on this, please?
Michelle, can you speak on this, please?
Okay, so the province had provided this grant opportunity to fire departments. It's called the Municipal Fire Protection Grant. So our fire chief, Chief Chump, he applied, and so they did receive funding. And the funding will be used for training to offset the pressures as a result of the COVID-19 pandemic. It's also can be used for small improvements to the fire department infrastructure, such as accessing high-speed internet to support training and virtual inspections, and any specialized training they need to respond to the dynamics of the COVID-19 pandemic and the need to ensure fire safety in their communities. And so they received funding in approximately $5,000.
Thank you, Michelle. And I guess my question is, with the new COVID restrictions, does that mean the fire training for volunteers is again on hold?
That's yet to be determined.
Okay, thank you. Any other questions or comments? The only other question I had, this is mostly just for COVID related issues. Again, it's not to do with the fire college closing, and this money probably can't be used towards training new volunteers, correct?
Not directly.
Thank you. Seeing no other questions or comments, I'll call for the vote. Councillor Burnt,
Yes.
Councillor Buckwalt,
Yes.
Councillor Robinson,
Yes.
Councillor Recchi Schoenfeld.
Yes,
I'm a yes, that's carried. Thank you. Are there any matters of urgency? I see none. Any notices of motion? Seeing none. Any unfinished business? So our next meeting will be the regular meeting of council, April 20th, 2021 at 7 p.m. And that brings us to item 15, which is closed session for two personal matters about an identifiable individual, including municipal or local board employees. I have a resolution that council goes into closed session at 8:13 PM for two personal matters about an identifiable individual, including municipal or local board employees. Can I get a mover and a seconder, please? Moved by Councillor Robinson, seconded by Councillor Ricky Schoenfeld. Councillor Burnt,
Yes.
Councillor Buckwald,
Yes.
Councillor Robinson,
Yes.
Councillor Ricky Schoenfeld.
Yes.
I'm a yes. Thank you very much. We are now in closed, and I'll just ask